Welcome to IFPG Discover. I'm your host, Red Boswell, President, the International Franchise Professional Group. Here we go. I'm on the other side today, IFPG. This is IFPG Discover, where we discover the best, hottest, most intriguing franchise brands on the market. And we've got one that fits that bill to a T, the one and only Mr. John Hewitt, founder of Ledgers and a whole lot more. If you were at IFPG Retreat this past year, you got to know John and up on stage. Well, Mr. Hewitt, thank you so much for joining us on IFPG Discover today.
Red, it's my pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, a pleasure is all mine, sir. We're going to learn a whole bunch about John's history and why you guys should be checking out Ledgers and keeping them on your short list. Let's start as we always do. John, who is Ledgers?
Ledgers is a accounting franchise. We specialize in bookkeeping and consulting and tax preparation for higher income individuals. And so most of our customers are small corporations that have revenue typically of under $2.5 million.
Nice. All right, guys, that's who they are. Now let's learn who John is. John, I don't even know where to start, my friend. I just finished your book, I Compete. It was outstanding. And guys, John has been in franchising as long as more than most of you have been alive. He is the only person on planet Earth, okay, you ready for this, that has been the founder of two, and in a way, three franchise brands in the top 5 in the world, an entrepreneur in the world, founding some enormous brands. And he is set to do it again and again with what he's got in the loyalty brands portfolio right now. So super honored to have John Hewitt on here. John, help us, give us a bit of background on where you've come and where you're going.
Yeah, I'll take you quickly, I think, through my 53 years. I started at University of Buffalo working part-time for H&R Block. And 12 years later, I was running 250 H&R Block locations. And my dad was the CFO of a public company. And he decided that he liked the Apple computer that was running that he used at home better than the mainframe that was running his public company. And so he convinced me to leave my job. He left his job. And in 1981, we built the first tax software ever for an Apple computer. It was ahead of its time. No one wanted it. We couldn't sell it. H&R Block said in their annual report, people ask us why we don't computerize. We say, why should we? Customers don't care. It doesn't save us any money. We're never going to computerize. And so got blessed and found a company here in Virginia Beach called Mel Jackson Tax Service. One of the blessings is the weather in Virginia Beach is a lot better than in Buffalo. And so I got to move my family here in August of '82, and we bought Mel Jackson Tax Service, 6 offices from his widow. Over the next 15 years, we changed the name to Jackson Hewitt. We went public, and we sold it for $483 million. I had a non-compete that covered virtually the entire United States, but Jackson Hewitt wasn't in Canada. And having grown up in Buffalo, I knew the Canadian tax system. So we opened Liberty Tax in Canada. And just as I had in the US, I had created one of the top 100 retail chains. I had now I did it in Canada in 3 years. And I came back in the United States in 2000. And we decided to get back in the tax industry again because both Block and Jackson Hewitt were not performing well. And now I had to compete with H&R Block, the 900-pound gorilla, and my own name, my own software, my own system. And yet over the next 12 years, we grew to 4,000 locations, top 10 fastest growing franchisor ever. Again, as you alluded earlier, ranked number 1 year in the Entrepreneur 500, we ranked number 3 in the world. At Jackson Hewitt, I've been ranked number 2 in the world in that company. But we grew it to, again, public company, again, worth $500 million. And now I sold my stock 3 years ago. And after being the only guy to develop 2 of the top 100 retail chains in the United States, sold my stock, and I'm starting a third time. And they say third time's the charm. And we have a number of brands, and Ledgers is, one of the great things I like about Ledgers is there's no H&R Block. There's no McDonald's. There's no 900-pound gorilla.
Interesting. That's true. I hadn't thought of it like that. And let's just share some of the other brands that you have in our portfolio already. I know A-Tax, so kind of hand in hand. A-Tax more focused on the Hispanic market, lower income on average, while Ledger's going for a little bit higher income in the business market.
Exactly. The A-Tax is after the same customers as H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or Liberty, people that make under $50,000, which is the 70% of the population. And but we focus on the Hispanic market, and we do both, but we focus on Hispanic, and we do that because none of the other three companies are good at going after Hispanic. And so they say, okay, John Hewitt, you take the Hispanic, we'll fight over the non-Hispanic. So I say, God bless you, fight amongst yourselves. I'm gonna take the low-hanging fruit. But Ledger's is corporate. We do corporate work and higher income. So the median income of a customer at Ledger's, a tax customer's over 80,000, compared to double what it is at a H&R Block or an A-Tax location.
Yes, awesome. So it's obvious, guys, we're dealing with someone who knows what they're doing. He comes with the highest level of credibility and low risk. The risk factor for so many buyers, that's why they're looking at franchising for the low risk. They want the lowest risk possible. Ledger's brings the best of both worlds, in my opinion. The emerging, you got lots of white space, plenty of dirt out there, and a $1 billion backer, if you will, who's done it time and time again and is doing it big time with this one and several others under the Loyalty Brands umbrella. So, John, help us understand, who's that ideal candidate? Do they need to have tax experience?
Well, traditionally, they the owners of accounting practices have been CPAs or accountants, or and there's a designation in tax called enrolled agent, where you take a test, and sort of like a CPA test or attorney test, you're allowed to represent customers in front of the IRS. So they're either enrolled agents, accountants, CPAs. But we have a little twist on our opportunity, and that is that we're providing something that, to our knowledge, no one's doing in the franchise space, and that is we can offsite the work for you as an owner. So even if you've never done accounting before, we teach you to collect the information from customers. And traditionally, I'm sure most of your consultants have had their tax return, because they have complicated tax returns, have at one time or another had their tax return done by an accountant. And typically you go in and you leave your information, and then you come back 2 weeks later and pick up your return. Well, you're talking to a very typically a personable accountant or someone that's taking your information. Well, they don't go and do the tax return. They just ship it to someone else, a clerk in the office. And so we're the off-site clerk. You can, if you're a salesman, and we teach you to take the information, and then you can ship it to us. We can do bookkeeping or accounting, tax preparation, all the work, and send it back, and then you can hand it to the customer. So it's in a new, it's unusual, and it's rare to date, but you do not need to have an accounting experience or tax experience to own one of these franchises.
Okay, so we've all seen the Liberty Tax, the H&R Blocks on the corner, in the strip centers. Is this where we're going to see Ledgers, or are seeing Ledgers?
No, Ledgers is a typical accounting kind of practice where we don't need to have retail exposure. Okay. So it could be the rent is a lot cheaper, and it could be on the 7th floor of a commercial building. It doesn't need the expensive retail exposure.
Nice. That explains why the investment's lower, and we're going to look at that investment in a moment. So how are they, going a little granular here, how are they getting their clients?
The most of the business comes from cross marketing and referrals. And so we have all of our other brands recommend our Ledgers franchise to their customers. So for example, here in Virginia Beach, we started last August, and we have, in our dog grooming, we have 1,000 customers. And we give the dog groomers a commission to refer business owners to our Ledger's franchise. So the cross marketing is huge. And we have an ATAX franchise. In the ATAX franchise, typically we'll get customers that will come into a lower end, like an H&R Block or an ATAX, who have more complex work. And so and the typical ATAX location doesn't do bookkeeping, so we'll refer them to Ledgers, and then they do work for our own franchise. So if there's a franchisee of ATAX who needs payroll, we can do payroll. And surprisingly, most of the people, I brought in 5,000 franchisees in my career at H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, Liberty, and ATAX and Ledgers. Most of them don't do their own bookkeeping. So of all of our ATAX franchises, we do bookkeeping for our ATAX franchise. So there's many ways we get customers, but the number two ways are cross marketing and referrals.
Nice. Okay, so that explains again the retail space is different than we've seen in the past with you. What all-in investment? I see I pulled up your company profile, 57 to 96, very low all-in investment, and it's 40,000 of that's the franchise fee.
Exactly. Yeah, typically it's under for one of these offices, it's under $60,000, and
wow,
certainly 90% are under 70,000. So not only the beauty of this industry is low cost, and for two of the last 3 years, the accounting tax industry has been named as the highest percentage net profit service industry in the United States. It's the highest percentage profit. So it's a great industry, low cost, and recession resistant.
And everybody needs it. I haven't done my own taxes since high school, I think. So it makes total sense. In demand for sure. So I know the commission's 15 consultants. Before you go away, we got some multi-unit opportunities and some, I think, even area developer opportunities here. 40,000 franchisee, 15,000 commission on a single. But talk to us about the multi-unit, and is area developer a play with this as well?
Yeah, the area representative is of course there. You can acquire. Well, we have an area representative, as you know, like a master franchise. So here in Virginia Beach, we have about 1.8 million people. So we have about 25 territories, and you can buy one of the territories for 40 grand. Okay. Or you can buy all of the territories as a area representative, as if you will, kind of a master franchise opportunity, where you are there's two levels of franchise: the unit franchise and the area. And the area, of course, supports the units. And for 10,000 a piece, you can acquire the 25 for $250,000. You acquire the entire area, and then every time we sell a $40,000 territory, you get half of that, and then you get half of the royalty. So you get and that the half of the royalty is much more important, right?
Half, yeah.
So you get 7% of all the revenue done by your offices. So that's a lifetime opportunity that's extremely successful. And I don't know if I put this in my book, but the number one mistake I made at Jackson Hewitt was not having an area representative program, and because it helped us grow so much quicker. When we started at Liberty, and Block had it, Liberty has it, ATAX has it, and Ledgers has it. But Jackson Hewitt's never incorporated an area representative program.
Wow. Still. Well, I see the area, the master opportunities, 10% commission on the entire purchases. So if there were
250,000, you get 25,000.
Yeah. And 250, I mean, that's an average franchise. So you're getting a typical commission on a typical investment, but the huge opportunity. So the takeaway for me is the candidate, there's nothing really like this. I mean, if you got the right candidate that's looking for an area developer opportunity where they can get serious residuals, this is a easy sell.
Exactly. We brought in 150 million, or I'm sorry, $150 million at Liberty in area representative sales. So it's a nice way to get someone who has had a success in business before and or is already an accountant who says, you know what, I want to benefit from the whole area. I'm an accountant in Norfolk, and I have one territory, but why don't I just acquire all the territories, and then I can have 25 of me.
Well, let's do a little math, John. You mentioned some math with the Virginia Beach territory, and it would be 25 territories. We get a bigger market, a Dallas Fort Worth, 6 million people. What is the territory size, I guess?
The territory size about 70,000.
All right.
So that would be up near 100 locations. So $1 million.
Yeah. And what's the loan look like on this? This I would assume not SBA. Is there any? How did a typical area developer get a loan for an area like this?
Well, we have in all of our franchises, we have banks and companies that vendors that work with our franchisees. So typically, if you have a decent credit score, you'll qualify.
So.
But if not, worst case is we'll lend the buyer some of the funds. So for example, if you did $1 million in Dallas, you might only pay $250,000 down and then $250,000 per year, not even monthly. You pay once a year because it's a seasonal business. You pay once a year every 12 months.
Nice. Wow. Good to know. And then would the seasonal business aspect of it, do you see a trend on what your franchisees do in the off season? Whatever they want, I guess.
Yeah, typically there are several kinds of franchise, right? The people that listen 100% or 90, no one listens 100%, but they listen 98 or 99% and they follow the system. No one has ever, out of the 5,000, not one has ever followed the system 100%. But they're so successful that they do whatever they want, right? And that's only about that they become millionaires and they're incredibly successful. And that's only 10% of the 5,000 people I brought in. And then you get another 10 or 20% that are losers and they won't listen at all. And if we say be open from 9 to 9, they're open from 10 to 2. I mean, they're just don't pay any attention. And it's been difficult over the years, but now I understand. But I've been in franchising for 53 years. So I've been dealing with this for 53 years. It's kind of difficult for people to understand why someone would pay $40,000 and a royalty and then not pay any attention. But it happens all the time. So 10% of the people are massive millionaires. They become successful. 20% leave, and over about 4 or 5 years, and the balance are in the middle somewhere. And they'll do other things. They'll have other businesses. So and some are content, and they'll make whatever satisfies them. Some people are happy. I mean, if you're 75 years old and you're on Social Security, you might be happy making 40, 50,000 a year. If you're 30 years old, it's going to take you 2, 3 million a year. So different people have different satisfaction and income levels. But what I've learned with all my franchisees is virtually everyone, 99% have an income threshold that once they get to that number, they're complacent. Don't ask me to expand. Don't ask me to expand my hours or do more marketing. I'm satisfied. And they don't really admit it, but they act it out.
Yeah, see that all the time. When I was a franchisor, same thing. I thought, boy, when I was in Amway, when I was 21, people invest $200 and they do nothing. But boy, when they invest 75,000, they're going to do a lot. Nope, same mindset. They convince themselves otherwise that it's get rich quick. Yeah, fascinating. Can't relate, but fascinating regardless. Okay, so Ledger's is primed to grow nationally. You're in Canada too?
Yes. We were founded in Canada, and so most of our locations are in Canada. So we're just in 2 countries, but eventually our largest international competitor has about 1,400 locations in over 60 countries.
Mm.
So we'll be in over 60 countries.
And how many units do you have today?
We have about 60 locations.
60 locations with ledgers. And are you open? No, it's not listed. Maybe I can talk to Jamie about updating this. Are you open to master opportunities in other countries?
We definitely are.
Okay.
But we're not, when you say open, it's definitely open, but not sought after.
Yes,
The
understood.
low hanging fruit is in the United States.
Yeah.
Right? We need to open 4,500 to 5,000 locations in the United States.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of runway there. We don't need to go out overseas,
Yeah.
but it's going to happen. And people are going to come to us as they see our success. They're going to come to us and say, they're going to raise their hand and say, we want to participate.
Absolutely right. John, when are you going to be satisfied? When are you going to be, all right, I'm done? Is there any big end game, or are you just enjoying the journey?
When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and I started thinking about my occupation and what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to get rich. I mean, I was confident just 100% confident I was going to get rich. I didn't know how, though. And then I thought, so I knew I was going to get rich. And number two is I thought, well, I'll just make a few $1 million and relax. Right. I mean, doesn't that sound great when you're
most people
17, 18 years old? I said, yeah, I'll just make a couple $1 million and I'll just live the life of luxury the rest of my life. $1 million back 60 years ago was a lot of money, right? But not today.
Yeah.
So what happened, Red, is along the way, along the journey, I realized that in the 15 years at Jackson Hewitt, we raised $129,000. And when we started in August of '82, and sold it for $483 million 15 years later. Well, what I learned is that the treasure at the end of the rainbow is anticlimactic. It's a journey that's the fun, right?
Yeah.
And so I learned that and I'm a life master bridge player. I'm a master chess player. But I only, I've been playing bridge for over 50 years. I still play with my college friend for 53 years, but I only play 2 days a year. I love to play bridge, but the business of changing people's lives and is so rewarding. It's more rewarding than anything. And, I frankly, so I could never slow down and they got to kill me to stop me. But in addition to that, I feel a requirement to give back, and I am at soon to be 73. I'm at the epitome of my knowledge and my experience, and just to go sit on a beach, what a waste it is to the rest of the world. Yeah. I'm here to help people, and that's you read my book. That is the most exciting, the most rewarding thing for me is changing people's life. I've now we're up to, in the book, I had created 800 millionaires, now 1,000. I change people's lives. So they got to kill me to stop me. I'm never stopping.
Nice. You read my mind. I was going to ask you, how many millionaires are you up to now that you've created? Wow. 1,000?
Yep.
Dang, dude. Beautiful. That is such a legacy. That's the biggest legacy of all. The impact, the lives changed, the generational wealth created. Beautiful. Is it true that, who was it? Man, it's been a while. I was speaking with someone a while back, a couple of years ago back, about you, and they said you're in the office on Christmas morning. you just like can't get enough. I can relate, honestly. I'm on my phone on Christmas morning checking emails, but are you can't get enough of it, working a day in, day out?
Yeah, I love being in the office when there's no one there. In my last headquarters at the biggest headquarters I had, we had about 500 employees, and it was, and back in the old days, I'd exercise walk. And on Christmas, sometimes it's cold. And it was like a block long building. So I'd walk around the building like 8 times on Christmas. And, I think people worry about the business, personal, fitting both in with their lives.
Yeah.
In my life, it's been fun and interesting, but every single one of my relatives or my friends either own stock, has been an employee, or been a franchise. So there isn't any holiday like Easter dinner or Christmas dinner, or there's not one day a year when people aren't talking business. And if I haven't seen some of my relatives and they come in for Christmas, they want to know. I mean, they own stock, or their children own stock, or they're thinking about a franchise. I'm peppered 365 days a year, and that's really the kind of person I am. I hate chit chat. For example, I hate talking on the telephone, and one of the reasons I hate talking on the telephone is the chit chat. I'm almost rude. People have accused me rude on the telephone because I almost don't say goodbye, right? I'm just right. So, I'm very jealous of my time, but I love being in the office because there's generally so many people around. I love being by myself, and the only day really that you can do that, because Easter's during the tax season, so there's a lot of people around during Easter. But the Christmas is the only day where I can be in the office all by myself.
I'm with you. Friday nights and Saturdays are my most productive, joy-filled time. I'm in the office, less phone calls. I would say none, but that's not true. Less phone calls, less emails, more focus, more actual just getting it done. Love that. Wow. Well, moving forward with ledgers, you've got a wide open opportunity. You've got the world-class support system. You've done it time and time again. You're going to do it moving forward with ledgers and with ATAX. What else am I missing? What does the consultant need to understand? Maybe the time to close the process, how long does that take? And any other nuances or information that you feel appropriate for the consultant when they're looking at candidates?
When I talk to candidates, and I would suffice it to say that I brought in 5,000 franchises in my career. Probably none of your 600 consultants have done that. So I'm an expert at that, if you will. There's probably some other people in the world that have done that, but I've never met one, right? So I'm pretty skilled in the process, and I like to keep it simple, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? I love that principle. And Einstein said that making the complex simple is genius. So I'm going to keep it really simple. And when you ask that question, I'm going to keep it really, really simple. And number one, why? First of all, when I meet someone and they're inquiring whether they could be a franchise, first thing I have to decide and teach my people to decide is, can that person be self-employed? Because in this country, 70% think they want to be self-employed, but realistically, only a third of them can be self-employed. So I try to discern. First thing I do is try to discern if I'm talking to someone that can be self-employed. Some it's obvious sometimes that they've been self-employed before, right? So sometimes it's obvious, but sometimes it's not. And so once I've gotten past that, I say, okay, what industry? And then once I've decided what industry, what vehicle, is our franchise the best answer for you in that industry? Is it mom and pop? Is it another franchisor? Is it us? And so what I look at first is, okay, why this industry? And we talked about it a little bit before. I said, there's no McDonald's, there's no Gerber's, there's no Campbell's, there's no Coke, there's no number one. So it's a great opportunity. It's recession resistant. Benjamin Franklin said only two certainties in life: death and taxes. And Dennis Waitley came out and said change. And you know what? Change drives people to accountants and tax preparers. That's a good thing. And so I say, thank you, IRS, thank you, Congress, thank you. Just keep driving up. Thirdly, it's one of the most profitable. It's historically over the last 5 years, it's been in the top 5 most highest profit percentage businesses in this country, or industries in the country. So it's a great industry. And I've been in it for 53 years. So my footsteps tell, my talk is cheap, but I've been doing this for 53 years. And at 73 years old, if I thought this didn't have a great history, I would go do something else, right? So I believe in this industry and I love it. And then why go with us, right? Why go with Ledgers, and why not go with H&R Block or another competitor? And you have, and I'm going to say this in a very cocky way, you have John Hewitt. John Hewitt's the most successful person ever in the tax preparation industry ever. I mean, my two companies, my companies, Jackson Hewitt and Liberty and ATEX, have over 10,000 locations. Block has 9,000. So I'm totally proven, and I come with thousands of references. And you talk to most people in this world. If I said, Red, give me some references. Well, you're pretty popular. You could probably give me 100 or 200, but I can give you 3,000 or 4,000 that say John Hewitt's a quality guy. You should do business with him. And plus, we have our cross marketing. We have all of our other brands that are feeding you customers. That are feeding you customers. We have a Thomson Reuters deal. Thomson Reuters, probably most of the consultants aren't familiar with tax and accounting software, but Thomson Reuters is one of the top 2 or 3 most successful software providers in the industry. We give our franchisees a $40,000 package. So that comes with that, and that's $40,000 a year. So they get that as part of their franchise. Oh. So we get that on the cheap because we're buying so many hundreds, and they believe they understand we're going to do 1,000. So we get on the cheap. So it's great leadership. It's the cross marketing, the software package, and those are the key. I mean, we could go on and on, but I look at the big picture. Those are the 3 reasons to be in the industry, 3 reasons to be with Ledgers.
Well, we know the number one thing that kills deals is validation, and you've got those thousands of positive validators. So you couldn't ask for more than that. I was reminded in your kind of worldview, and frankly mine right there with you, so many people desire work-life balance. You hear that all the time, and then it kind of transitioned. The hot term was work-life integration, but really the best term I've heard is work-life harmony, working hand in hand. Your work is your life is your work. You get success and fulfillment from it. The family's integrated into it. It's who you are, and you're building and changing lives through it. So kudos to you. And by the way, I heard a lot of verbiage that if you ever want a second career, you could be a franchise consultant, my friend.
Oh, well, thank you.
Absolutely.
I might have to step down in income though.
But just for a short period of time. We got some real top producers here.
Oh, good.
And I know a good tax franchise that you could represent and introduce folks to.
Thank you.
Gang, I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. John Hewitt and his incredible team. We have Jamie Marcil representing Ledgers. Reach out to her. Check out their company profile in the system. Very exciting, and I think we'd all agree, extremely unique with the background and the support that we've seen today. Ledgers, and you might also hear them referred to as Ledgers USA. Ledgers, a hot franchise, both on the area developer opportunity and the multi-unit, whether a single or multi-pack. One thing I left out, 15 on the first, 10 on each additional. So you find somebody just wants a simple 3-pack for around $250,000 or less. Maybe, hey, you get 4-pack, 5-pack probably for that. Look at that. And now you're not talking 15, you're talking 50 and beyond when you start doing some multis there. So wonderful opportunity. Thank you so much, John Hewitt, for joining IFPG Discover today.
Right. It's always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
See you soon, my friend.